Hello, fellow explorers. My name is Jennifer Neal, and I am so glad you guys made it in today to hear about my recent Disney cruise on the Magic. We had a great time. It was me and my husband and my two kids, my 17-year-old and my 7-year-old. And like I said, it was a lot of fun, but it was definitely different from before COVID cruising with Disney. So I have a couple of quick pictures. This is not going to be a real long live, probably about 10 minutes. A couple of pictures that I wanted to share and some explanations about how things were different, specifically to cruising with Disney. Now, later this week, I'm going to go live again, but I'm going to compare because we've done 3 cruises now during the pandemic. So later this week, I'm going to compare my Carnival cruise to my Virgin Voyage to my Disney cruise. And there are some pros and cons to all of them. And I just want to let you guys know there are some commonalities, I guess, between them all that you might find interesting as you consider doing your next cruise. So anyway, today we're going to talk about the Disney Magic. I would love for you to be part of the conversation. So if you want me to know who you are that's talking, make sure you go to streamyard.com/Facebook and enter your name so that when you pop up with your comments or questions, I can see who's asking them. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you about was all of the stuff that we needed to have before we went on the cruise. So of course, all the usual travel documents had to be uploaded. Additionally, we had our vaccine cards, pictures of the vaccine cards, and then I had to, within 5 days of when we embarked, I had to have a negative COVID test for my 7-year-old. So it had to be a very specific type of test. So the antibodies tests are not going to work. So make sure you double and triple check that you get the right type of COVID test if you're going to take an unvaccinated child on your Disney cruise. Second thing was when we got there, we had all the documentation completed. We were supposed to be assigned a time to show up, and Disney was supposed to do that. And for some reason, they did not assign a time to us. I have yet to figure out why we didn't get assigned a time. But when we showed up, they were very nice about it. We showed them all our paperwork, everything Disney had sent us. And they allowed us to start the boarding process right when we showed up at the cruise terminal. So after we got through and did the nasal swab, and then we had to wait because all 4 of us, even though my son had recently had a negative COVID test, he had to get swabbed just like the rest of us did. So after we did that, we went into a large room at the cruise terminal, and we had to keep an eye on this board. And I'm going to show you a picture of that board. So we knew our booking number, and this screen would just scroll through, and we just had to keep looking for our number. And of course they were in numeric order, so once I kind of knew where on the screen it was going to be, it wasn't that hard to see it. But yeah, it was a little bit I don't know, unusual to me. It was different from what the other cruise lines did on their embarkation process, but it worked. It took about 25-30 minutes, and they were also showing on that same screen, and another little part of the screen they were showing cartoons. So my son, my 7-year-old, wasn't complaining and whining, and of course we had snacks, so that made it a lot more bearable for him. So once we got on the ship, it was business as usual. We did have to wear our masks, but they were taking the pre-boarding pictures and all that good stuff. They did the announcement. They introduced you to the socially distanced meeting of the characters right away, because right there in the main atrium, Mickey and Minnie put on a little dance show and welcomed us onto the Disney Magic. So it was super cute. My 7-year-old was mesmerized by the show, so that was fun. And then after that, it was, again, we just had to wear our masks, but it was everything that I expected of getting on a Disney cruise, with all the kindness, the cleanness, the open house in all of the kids clubs. So we did get to go in and look at the Oceaneers Lab and the Oceaneers Club, all that good stuff. So the next thing that I've had a lot of questions about were the pools and how they're handling the kids' areas for swimming. So the splash pad for the little guys is open, and I have a quick picture of that. And as you can see, there were only a couple of kids there, but it was wide open, and kids were able to go onto the splash pad, no problem. The only place we saw them kind of really trying to monitor how many kids were in the pool was in the shallower pool for the older kids. So this is, my son is in that picture. But on the far side by the yellow slide is where there was a lifeguard kind of paying attention to the number of kids that were in that little shallow pool. And that was really the only place we noticed them monitoring the numbers of kids within the pool, as well as, of course, doing regular lifeguarding responsibilities. In the deeper kids pool, that's a little bit further down the ship, it didn't look like there was a ton of older kids, and I didn't notice. They could have been doing the same thing as far as monitoring and seeing how many kids were in there. But my kid didn't want to go in there. So we just kind of looked at it in passing, and I didn't notice if they were monitoring the numbers. So that was a little bit different, but it was also really good just to see that the kids were able to use all the different pools, and they were having a great time doing all that. So they did have character meeting opportunities, and I use meeting loosely. They got to meet from afar. So the closest we were able to get was right here, where Pluto breezed by my son, and he was thrilled. He's hiding it really well in that picture. I had to take it really quick. But he was really excited to get that close to Pluto. And that was the closest we were able to get to a character. Otherwise, you were well more than 6 feet away from any characters that came along. Now, one thing that was new is that they are offering photo opportunities where you get those magic moments where Disney will superimpose a character or something cute into the picture for you. So they had those kinds of sessions around the ship at different times of the day. So that was something brand new that looked pretty cool. I'm trying to remember what this next picture was. Oh, okay. And then I've also had some questions about the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, because it's not yet open at the parks, but it is open on the Disney cruise ships. At least on the Magic, it was open. So I took a quick picture there. You can see, and I'm sorry that it superimposes the pictures on top of my face, but that's the way it is. But anyway, so that's the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. So they are doing makeovers. They do have limited capacity because they don't want the kids really close to each other as they're getting their makeover. So you could do the makeover for Pirate Night, which did happen. Interestingly, I didn't see it listed as an activity on the app. So it was our table servers that mentioned it to us. And then my daughter said they told her about it at the teen club. So we did dress up, and a lot of people dressed up. I was surprised at how many first time Disney cruisers were on this itinerary. So they didn't really know what to do about Pirate Night, but the experienced cruisers were done up in some beautiful, elaborate, super fun pirate costumes. So we did have Pirate Night. We also had fireworks, and just once. This was not. This was just a 4 night sailing. So we did have fireworks, and it was really nice. Great to see the fireworks on the water again. They also have reopened Palos, the adults only restaurant, and Paulo's has these super cool steak knives. So that's a new thing there. My husband and I had dinner there one night, and when he ordered his steak, they came over with this beautiful box with a display of different handled um, knives. So we thought that was pretty fun. And, of course, he was very careful with his special knife. Anyway, and then when we got to the island, that felt very normal. Unfortunately, the weather, it was super windy on this cruising. So a lot of the things were canceled because of the wind and the bad weather. But otherwise, they would have had the things that they normally have on Castaway Cay. Um, they did have the fun run. So we did our little 5K. It was different in that you could just do it whenever you wanted and still get the medal. So what we did was we got everything situated and did our run and our walk, and it was actually more than a 5K by the time we got back. And then you just go to the little hut where you rent your bikes and tell them that you did your fun run, and they give you your little medals, and this is what they look this year. So still cute. um, I was really glad that it was still a cute medal and not one year they did these plastic black ones that were shaped like Mickey, and it just said winner across it. And I was like, I want something that actually has Mickey running on it. And so I'm glad that they kept the cute medals to celebrate the Castaway Cay 5K. And it was a lot of fun. So then after that, Disembarkation was, again, it felt very similar to pre-pandemic Disembarkation. You could put your luggage out the night before if you wanted to. You could do the express checkout if you wanted to get off the boat super early. And then they were, just like before, they were kind of calling your tags that they had assigned you, the characters that you got assigned the night before. We still did the tips like we normally do. So overall, it was, one other thing, the masks. We did have to wear masks all over the ship. And there were certain groups that were a little more diligent about asking you to have your mask in place if you had let it slip off or had forgotten to put it on after you had a drink, something like that. But it did feel very relaxed and very comfortable, if you will, in how they enforced wearing the masks. So I didn't feel any kind of mask shame or like the school marm was following me around, making sure I had my mask in place. No, it was very relaxed, very comfortable, and it didn't bother me to have to wear the mask, except of course when I was climbing like 7 flights of stairs. Then I would kind of take it off when I was on the stairs by myself, huffing and puffing, going up the stairs. So anyway, so that was a new thing, but it could have been a lot worse, and it was much better than I expected, having to wear the mask everywhere indoors except when you were eating. So that's it. That's my lowdown on the Disney magic and cruising during a pandemic. Make sure you check back with me later this week as I compare my experience of cruising during a pandemic, my experiences on a Carnival cruise, a Virgin voyage, and a Disney cruise. I look forward to seeing you then. Have a great day.